And we are live and direct from our cozy confines inside our large performance space here at the Community Broadcast Center with a whole room full of WYEP members. These folks are here to welcome Great Lake swimmers back to Pittsburgh. They're playing Club Cafe tonight, and Tony Decker, the lead singer, is here. We're going to be talking about the album Caught Light, their 9th studio album. Tony, would you like to start us off with a song?
Yeah, sure. This is the lead-off track from the record. It's called One More Dance Around the Sun.
Like the back of my hand, the way that it bends and how to get it back. Concessions and lines, rhythms and rhymes, furrows and rows, rivers and roads, push away under a dusty eye. I know my place in the shifting sand. One more dance around the sun to know where to start again. One more dance around the sun. It's an even trade, the night for the day. Breaking your back is how it gets paid. Back roads, payloads swept through your clothes, picking it up and putting it down, looking for signals underground. Might be buried, might need to keep digging for it. One more dance around the sun to know where to start again. One more dance around the sun. One more dance around the sun to find the light again. One more dance around the sun. I could get to the edge of it, turn it over and figure it out. Cut through the fog, cut through all of it. One more dance around the sun to know where to start again. One more dance around the sun. One more dance around the sun to find the light again. One more dance around the sun.
Welcome back, Great Lakes Swimmers, to Pittsburgh. The ninth album is out called Caught Light, and Tony Decker, lead singer, is here. They'll get the full-on performance tonight from the band at Club Cafe. And that was the first song heard off of this album back in the summer. And I got to admit that personally, I listen to a lot of music here with headphones on and stuff, but I like to experience it without headphones or earbuds or anything. I usually enjoy putting on a playlist of new music to check out in the car. Or
It
sometimes
sounds
at home.
great on vinyl too.
Yes, it does. I wish I had one of those vinyl players in the car, but we'll talk about that later. But it's one of those songs that just kind of begs to be heard in that type of setting to me, with like the windows rolled down and some of the imagery that you present in the song.
Yeah, I agree. That's sort of, it has this kind of almost like, 1960s summertime Laurel Canyon kind of feel to it a little bit, I think.
I noticed that with
Instrumentation.
with the album too, that you get into a lot of the 60s and 70s kind of folk pop that all kind of blends together, and you've done that really well over the years. But what was the when you set out to record this album? What was the plan?
Yeah, so I have a good friend and now co-producer named Darcy Yates, and we were just talking one day, and he played bass in our band for a couple of years, and we've remained really close. And he said, you know what Great Lakes Swimmers should do? They should create a 1970s style folk record. And I kind of laughed him off a little bit. And then I really started thinking about it, and I was like, he might be onto something with that. And I said, if you were going to make a record like that for our band, how would you do it? And he said, oh, these are the people who I'd want to have involved. I want to call Jim Boskill to engineer it, multi-instrumentalist.
Blue Rodeo.
From Blue Rodeo, yeah, he's a full member of that band now. He can play anything with strings on it, and he's absolutely brilliant. He plays pedal steel, he plays mandolin, he played guitar, he played some fiddle, he played some upright bass. Just incredible person to work with. And it was all recorded out at his home studio in Port Hope, Ontario, which is just a couple hours east of Toronto.
Okay,
Yeah.
You're from Southern Ontario, correct, or fairly close to that area?
Yeah, the band kind of got its start in Toronto, but I've since moved back to the Niagara region, just across from Lewiston, New York, actually, just across the river on the Canadian side. So Niagara on the Lake, Ontario. Yeah.
Well, beautiful area. Does that play into some of the songwriting, just growing up in kind of a rural area and being out in the open and I guess the backwoods, if you would?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I grew up in a really small town farming community, and I spent the first half of my life trying to just get out of that town, to be honest. But I feel like I'm spending the second half trying to get back in, and I've really reconnected with the strengths of small communities. The real sense of like knowing all your neighbors, the sort of the tight-knitness of the situation. There's a real strength in small communities like that. And now having a family of my own and returning to my roots a little bit more, I'm really trying hard to kind of like fight for my community now.
Well, that's great. You've got a long legacy of really great albums, and the CBC has called you a national treasure, which is quite the honor.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice. The CBC has really gotten behind this new record too. That's our version of NPR, I guess. It's been nice to feel their support for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
Tony Decker is here from Great Lakes Swimmers. We're glad they're back in Pittsburgh. It's been a while. I know that it was a few years ago you played at one of our Final Fridays events here in
right.
Pittsburgh, too. It might maybe over a decade ago.
It was a while ago, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we welcome you back with open arms, and we'll talk a little bit more about the album. But would you do a couple more songs from us?
Yeah, I would be happy to. Yeah, I've got a couple other songs from the new album that I'd like to try for you. This one is called Wrong, Wrong, Wrong.
This is getting desperate, and we haven't seen the worst of it. It was going to be heaven. The pressure cracked choices, and I'm running low on choices. And when I open my eyes again, it's a breakdown, a breakaway. I'm only telling you because I know you won't get it wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. And I can't afford therapy, and I don't expect your sympathy. I'm not trying to make you feel bad for me, but the truth is I'm barely hanging on. I'm only telling you because I know you won't get it wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Nobody knows, not a single person knows, not another human knows how far it goes, or just how to get back. It's not okay feeling let down in every way, and I don't know how else to say it. Wrong, wrong, wrong. And by the way, I can't tune out the voices, and I'm running low on choices. And when I open my eyes again, it's a breakdown, a breakaway. I'm only telling you because I know you won't get it wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong.
Thank you so much.
We are live and direct with Tony Decker from Great Lakes Swimmers playing Club Cafe tonight.
Found a photo of us from back in the day. All smiles, children on their way. Considered and caught in full living color. Proof that we were here. Proof that we were real. Youth not wasted. Youth not wasted on the young. Youth not wasted, never wasted on the young. So many books on the shelf left unread. Never enough time to reach for them all. Stories and rhymes, and we will stay strangers. Pages of things that I had hoped to know. Youth Youth not wasted, never wasted on the young. It's getting later now. Street lights are starting to come on. All that living needs somewhere to go. Exploding out head on to the great big world. Youth not wasted. Youth not wasted on the young. Youth not wasted, never wasted on the young.
Thanks so much.
Another great new song from Great Lake Swimmers. Tony Decker is here, lead singer of the band. You'll get the full band effect tonight at Club Cafe as they're back in town, touring in support of Caught Light, their 9th album overall, and one there called Youth Not Wasted that's on the album, and a bit of that kind of taking stock of things in life type of song.
It's a little bit of a twist on that old Oscar Wilde quote, you know, the famous quote, "Youth is wasted on the young." And I feel like, you know, if you look at it the right way, I mean, everything that happened when you were young, good or bad, all the great things, all the not so great things, they've brought you to where you are today. And I feel like if you just kind of, it's like a lot of things, if you just switch your perspective slightly, you know, I feel that you see things in a whole new way. And I don't believe for a second that youth is wasted on the young. I think if you look at it right, you realize that it's every moment counts, you know?
That indeed. I'm curious about the concept or what is meant by Caught Light. When I first heard the title, I tried to figure it out from listening to some of the songs, but maybe you can help us out a little bit.
Yeah, there's a bunch of layers of meaning for the title itself. I like the idea of, like, you know, actual real, like photographs being exposed onto paper, like the old kind of style, a little bit of a lost art these days. But I mean, it's the same kind of thing when you take a digital picture and it just sort of, you know, you're catching that light. It's also kind of finding yourself with maybe in a different place than you kind of expected, maybe a little with wanting something, you know, in a sort of a metaphorical sense too. And the song itself, the title track, comes from when I was quite young and lived out on the farm. There was a skydiving club, like kind of not that far away from our house, and then in the summertime we'd see, you know, 4 or 5 or 6 people jumping out of this plane and these beautiful, you know,
Oh, wow.
parachutes coming down. But every once in a while they'd get kind of like blown off course, like the wind can be kind of unpredictable, you know, and they'd land out in the back 40 out in the farmers' fields. And it was like a really powerful image of these brightly colored silk parachutes kind of coming down in this, you know, out in the woods or in a farmer's field generally, if they could kind of steer it. But I always thought, like, as I was kind of revisiting some of those memories, I was kind of like, what a great sort of metaphor for life in a way, you know, kind of being blown off course. Like, let's explore that a little bit more. So that kind of ties into it too a little bit.
I noticed that you use photography. I've read that you are a photographer and at least like putting things together. Do you?
Yes and no. Yeah, I do
Okay.
like photography. Yeah, I wouldn't consider myself like a pro photographer, but it's something I like. I kind of feel like my songs are snapshots. That's the kind of photography sort of that probably I would be associated with.
I just wondered with the feather and the light, either the sun or another kind of light on the cover of the album Caught Light, if that's...
Yeah, that was actually a film photograph. There was no touch-ups to that. That was like an analog film photograph that we had a photographer friend that was working on the album cover, and we wanted to do a very sort of analog style, traditional film photograph. And there's kind of something in those textures that like it might be missing a little bit these days, you know. And that was the way we kind of approached the album too. Sort of very. We recorded the whole album in 3 days. Which is faster than I've ever worked an album on, but we had a great group of musicians in the room, and we just decided to run it kind of like a Nashville session, run the song once, hit record, you know, maybe do a second take, but we got it all pretty much in 3 times through, not being too precious about it, being a little bit more direct, being a little bit more concise. So there was kind of this sort of old way of working that's kind of runs through. It's a bit of a thread, I guess.
Well, it's fantastic. It's a really great listen. 10 songs on it, and I know one that you're not going to play, but maybe you'll play tonight. Running Out of Time. It's got a little bit of a sitar and almost a Beatlesque feel to it.
Yeah, it's a harmonium actually that runs through it, and there's also Jim Boskill plays a bouzouki on that one too. That was. I felt that like I wasn't sure if there was a place for backwards guitar on a Great Lakes Swimmers album. But at the advice and my co-producer Darcy Yates, he said, "Hey man, you gotta just let go. You gotta try some stuff here." So I was like, "All right, Darcy, I trust you implicitly, but if this all goes wrong, it's on you, man."
Well, it is really, truly great listen. And Caught Light, 9th studio album, Great Lakes Swimmers, playing tonight at Club Cafe. And we're glad you're here, Tony. Thank you for taking the time to fight through the snow and get here for a live session. Could you do one more song for us?
I'd be happy to, yeah. Thanks so much for having me, and it's really nice to see you. Thanks. I'm going to do an older cut from our album Anguiara. This one's called Your Rocky Spine.
I was lost in the lakes and the shapes that your body makes, that your body makes, that your body makes, that your body makes. And the mountains said I could find you here. They whispered the snow and the leaves in my ear. I traced my fingers you shatter? Would you shatter? Would you? And with your soft fingers between my claws, like purity against resolve, I could tell then and there we were formed from the clay and came from the rocks for the earth to display. They told me to be careful up there where the wind blows a venomous rage through your hair. They told me to be careful up there where the wind rages through your hair.
Thanks so much.
Live and direct with Great Lakes Swimmers. It's Tony Decker, the lead singer here, and No Light is, Caught Light is the new album. They're 9th overall. They're playing at Club Cafe this evening here in Pittsburgh. And again, thanks a lot for coming in and taking the time to share the stories and your music.
Thank you very much, Kyle. Thanks so much for having me.
Great Lakes
Thank you, guys.
Swimmers on WYEP.